Hello, Roxanne. You've been working with finance and accounting for more than 30 years.
Yep, that's true.
What are some of the challenges that the modern CFO has got with the purchase to pay process?
I believe there's two main challenges. First being that the CFO is pretty far removed from the day-to-day processing,
Mm.
so he doesn't really monitor compliance, but yet he uses the material, the data that he has to make business decisions where he might not realize that there's inaccuracies there. And the second main area would be that over time companies layer on different process improvements
Mm.
in different areas of the transaction. So they could take place in different processes and different systems that don't communicate to each other. And that just leaves very large gaps for compliance. So those would be the two main things that I would see.
Okay. So, Roxanne, what is critical for a modern CFO to think about when setting up the process for P2P?
Well, the most critical is to think about at the beginning where you want to be after your implementation, and to really understand if it's going to drive compliance, so you no longer have human intervention there, to see if you can use your current purchasing to your purchasing habits to lower costs. Really look at it from your vendor's perspective. What are they going to experience based on your improvement initiative? Maybe your cash position will be strengthened if you can reduce your days payable outstanding, things like that. There's a wealth of areas to look at, but really, where do you want to be at the end, and what will others experience?
What is important for a modern P2P solution if it's going to support a modern CFO in a good way?
My response to that would be that the solution itself needs to not just take on one piece of that process. It needs to handle the entire life cycle of a transaction, from sourcing and based on purchase history, straight through every part of the process up to payment. And a lot of the solutions today, their strength is in one area and the rest of it falls flat. So really, they need a solution. The solution needs to handle the entire life cycle of the transaction.
Okay. What will become the main benefits for the CFO if you can really master the purchase to pay process?
The main benefits to a CFO would be just to ensure that the data he's receiving, that he's basing his decisions on, are accurate. And that means automating or ensuring that all of the business rules are written in for compliance. So it gives him the most accurate data to make the best decisions for the company.
So you can get a good night's sleep.
Hopefully, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's an obvious benefit for the CFO, I would say. But what will become the benefits for the organization?
The benefits for the organization would be that they could use their current purchasing habits to negotiate better pricing based on their volumes. They could renegotiate with vendors or reduce their vendor base and use just the vendors that give them the better terms.
Mm.
And at the same time, they could improve their days payable outstanding, which is more beneficial to a vendor, and they would attract vendors that give discounts. Not to mention, really the main thing that everybody thinks about is reducing the effort in AP. Because when the transaction starts out in compliance with everything taken into consideration, the rest of the transaction falls into place.
Okay, yeah, there's some quite a lot of different interesting benefits here. There's no
Yeah,
doubt.
and there's more than we can mention, but
Mm.
those are the main
Main
ones.
ones.
Yeah.
So, Roxanne, what would be your final tip for the modern CFO if they want to take one step in the right direction towards a modern solution for purchase to pay?
I believe my final tip would be for that CFO to look at his entire transaction, the entire process, map it all out beginning to end, and really identify where they're having difficulty so that they have room once they solve that difficulty to improve. So to view those two things separate, but to have a solution that can handle both.
What's your experience? Is CFOs in general able to do this mapping exercise around the process?
They, with help from the heads of different departments, yes. And from what I have learned, there's a lot that can go on with the transaction, a lot more than what the CFO realizes is involved in that transaction. So,
is it a heavy work to do this, or?
No, it really isn't. It's just taking one person from each department and having them write out their process and really asking them, what do you think we should do better? What could we do better? Because everybody focuses on what we do today. You don't need to automate a bad practice. You don't need to keep doing the things you're doing today. If you look at it from what could we do better, it's a home run. I mean, it really does work.
Okay, Roxanne, thanks you so much for taking the time to talk to us about the modern CFO and how they can improve using purchase to pay and modern solutions for that.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you.